This man dug up a tree root shaped like a human figure. When he picked it up, it actually turned into a baby. So he brought the tree root to his wife. When she saw it, she was overjoyed. She began dressing it up, bathing it, and feeding it. Little did they know that something even more terrifying was about to happen. The couple had long been plagued by infertility. They had tried so hard to have a child, but their wishes still hadn't come true. Unable to bear seeing his wife remain so despondent, the husband, Karel, decided to take her on a vacation to the countryside. While cleaning the yard, he unearthed a tree root shaped like a human figure. After Karel trimmed it, it looked even more lifelike. He happily brought it to his wife. His wife, Bozina, took out some baby clothes and dressed the root up to look the part, naming it Otik. Watching his wife, Karel felt both heartbroken and helpless. That night, his wife hugged Otik, wanting to take it home. Seeing his wife acting almost delirious, Karel flew into a rage. He snatched the root from her and slammed it onto the table, explaining to his wife that it was just a tree root. His wife burst into tears and struggled with him. In the end, Karel relented and gave in. He comforted his wife, saying that if she missed the child, they could come here every weekend to visit it. His wife was finally persuaded and left reluctantly. A few days later, a neighbor suddenly congratulated Karel. Confused, Karel rushed home, only to find his wife with a huge belly. It turned out that to bring Otik home, she had actually told everyone she was pregnant. To make it more convincing, she even made 9 pillows. Karel reluctantly gave in once again. During this time, aside from the girl who had her suspicions, everyone believed it was true. 8 months later, his wife couldn't wait to bring Otik home, so she staged a premature birth and brought Otik home. However, to their surprise, under his wife's devoted care, the tree stump actually came back to life. Seeing that Otik could move, Karel wanted to split him in two, but his wife once again stopped him. Weeping, as he grew, Otik developed a huge appetite, and would often cry incessantly from hunger. While waiting for food, Otik, unable to contain his hunger, even ate his mother's hair. Not only was his wife not afraid, she actually thought the short hair looked better. After that, his wife bought plenty of food every day. One day, a little girl finally discovered Otik. She carefully removed the baby's socks, and the sight before her left her stunned. The neighbor's child was actually a tree stump. Curious, she reached out to touch it, but her finger got tangled up in Otik. Terrified, she ran off as fast as she could. Back home, she flipped through that book of dark fairy tales, and learned from the stories that as Otik grew, his appetite grew ever larger. His mother could only borrow bread from the neighbors, but even that wasn't enough to fill Otik's belly, so he turned his attention to other things. One day, the couple returned home to find that the black cat they'd raised for years had been eaten by Otik. Karel realized the situation was spiraling out of control. He wanted to destroy it, but his wife stopped him again. That day, the couple had just bought a few bags of groceries. The moment they pushed open the nursery door, they froze. Lying starkly on the floor was a skeleton, and this was exactly what the little girl had expected. To cover up the fact that the delivery man had been eaten, Karel had no choice but to secretly send the mail out. But this action was accidentally witnessed by a neighbor. To prevent Otik from hurting anyone again, the wife began buying large quantities of fatty pork. The neighbor sensed something was wrong and called the police. Soon, the investigation team sent a social worker. The wife tried desperately to stop her, but it was no use. She could only watch as the girl became Otik's meal. Karel returned home and finally made up his mind. While Otik was sleeping, he tied it up, locked it in the basement, and starved it to death. His wife cried and begged him once more to spare the child. This time, Karel tied Otik up, then dragged it down to the basement and placed it in a wooden crate. Everything was unfolding exactly as in that fairy tale. The girl opened the door and stepped inside. Summoning her courage, Otik immediately reached out its tentacles toward her. The girl carefully untied its ropes and told it she would bring food. To her surprise, Otik was very docile and became her friend. To keep Otik from going hungry, she devised a cruel plan. She would draw lots to select a resident to become Otik's meal. Soon, an old man became her victim. The old man followed the girl straight down to the basement. Little did he know that waiting for him wasn't the girl, but Otik. In the blink of an eye, the old man was swallowed whole. The police soon came knocking. Karel finally reached his limit. He borrowed a chainsaw from a neighbor and prepared to take action against Otik in the dead of night. However, just as he was about to strike, Otik suddenly cried out, calling him daddy, tears streaming down his face. Karel put down the chainsaw. Amidst the blood-curdling scream from the basement, Otik devoured his father. His wife heard the commotion and rushed into the basement, only to never come back up, just like her husband. According to the story's progression, Otik would eventually be killed by the old woman with a hoe for stealing cabbages. The girl looked out the window and discovered that there really was a patch of cabbages right below her house. Fearing her friend would be harmed, she hid the old woman's hoe and repeatedly warned Otik that no matter how hungry he was, he must not steal the cabbages. The cabbages in the field would give him a stomachache, but as more and more people began to mysteriously disappear, the girl's mother forbade her from leaving the house. Before long, Otik could no longer bear the hunger, forgot the girl's warnings, and reached out his tentacles toward the cabbages in the garden. The old woman saw the garden in shambles, and, thinking of all her hard work going to waste, picked up her hoe and headed toward the basement. And that is where the film ends.